welcome to Bethan's Kitchen and Garden. Today I'm in the garden and I'm going to share with you some methods I'm going to try for germinating my seeds, because it's really warm over here in East Anglia in the UK at the moment, and nothing is growing because it's so warm. So I thought, as hashtag shedwars information, I would pass this on to you and hope that this aids your team, whichever team you're on, to win, essentially, or to bring unity between you both. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going to share my tips on how I'm going to germinate things in this really warm heat. Here is the borlotti seeds. They've just been on some damp kitchen towel in a see-through bit of Tupperware, and there's one that is even broken away from its shell, so that is well and truly ready to get in the ground and get going. That's good root system on it. And then there are some all at different sort of stages in the box, and I've even got ones that have gone mouldy, and this is what happened to the last batch I tried. It just went mouldy, so I will take all the mouldy ones out because that's not going to do them any good, and I'm going to plant the ones that have got the best roots on them, and the rest I shall then pot on and continue to grow in pots if I don't have any room in my beds. I planned my borlotti beans to go in this back corner here. You probably haven't seen the squash arch yet because I've not really done a tour of what's going on, but the beans are going to go in here. So I'm just going to dig 2 holes either side. The depth of the hole that you make is, by rule of thumb, about twice the size of the bean that you're planting. So that should be fine. So again, just do 2 beans, one either side of the pole. Pop the chitted bean in there. And hopefully away they'll go.
I put a bean in.
Well done, and then cover it over.
Cover. There.
Well done. Right, let's move along. Let's dig a hole then.
There you dig.
Oh, I think you managed to plant one that hasn't chitted yet. There we are, that one. Use that one. Because you see it's got the... Use that one. Plant that one. Then cover it over.
Cover. There you go, Mum.
Thank you.
I did.
Let me... There you are. And cover it over. That's right.
There you go, Mum.
I don't know if you can see, but the soil that's coming up from underneath is quite moist actually, which is very reassuring, isn't it, Alwyn?
Yep.
It needs to be quite damp down there, doesn't it? Right, so yeah, that's right.
There we go.
Lovely job. Let's do one more the other side then. That's right. Yeah, you can pick that one.
Yep. There you go.
Lovely. That's right. Yeah. give it all a thorough watering, isn't it? They will, they'll shoot up, I'm sure. Another technique I've been using to get the seeds to germinate is very simply to put them in the shade instead of in the greenhouse or in the sun, because the sun is so hot at the moment that the compost is drying out before the seeds germinate. So if they don't have water, they just will never germinate, and if they start to germinate and the water isn't there, then they just dry up and you get no germination. So I've put them in the bed that has been in the shade for this year, and I'll show you that now. So this is the bed that has been in the shade for most of this year, well, for all of this year. I put it here to see how things would grow in the shade, and it's not been the greatest experiment in the world. My mustard and spinach has bolted, but the Swiss chard right down the bottom hasn't done so far. But I'm going to move this bed because it's going to go from here just to here, so it'll come out along here, because that bit does get sun at certain points of the day, whereas this bit doesn't get sun at all. So I'll use this for storing pots and things. So I've just removed the letting so we can see what's going on, and already we have some Swedes that have germinated. I sowed these on Saturday and it's now Friday, and they've just been sitting in this shade for the whole time. I haven't brought them in or out of the shade, they've just been sat in the shade. The turnips have also germinated there, as has the broccoli rabe, and the lettuce and pak choi have germinated there. Sorry about that, my son wanted me for a minute. So the cabbages, the graham cabbage is starting to germinate, and the April cabbage, which are sort of spring greens, have started to germinate, and the collie and broccoli have germinated. And because I was worried about germination, I've planted 3 seeds per cell, and a fair few of them have come up, so I'll just have to prick those ones out. Over here I've got more calendula, and this is beetroot, and over here are some sprouts, but I've only planted them 2 days ago, so I wouldn't expect them to come out. Oh, and this, if anybody saw my planting or keeping bilberries and wild strawberry seedlings, starting them off in the fridge, and I've just recently planted them out into the compost to see if anything has happened. So that's another method of getting seeds to germinate, to just leave them in the shade and see how they get on. They're awfully pernickety, these seeds, aren't they? They're either it's too cold in the winter so they don't germinate, and then it's too warm in the summer or spring in this case and they don't germinate. My parsnip seeds are kind of a different story, really. There's a fair few seeds in here, and I would probably say about a quarter of them have germinated to date. So with my parsnips, I'm going to pot on the ones that have germinated, and then I'm going to keep that Tupperware going and see if the ones that haven't germinated just take longer to germinate, or if they don't germinate at all. Because my germination with the parsnips has been so poor, I'm quite happy to sort of experiment with them, because it will be interesting to see, out of all the parsnips I sow, how many seeds actually do germinate, because they do say that parsnips, take a lot to germinate. So we'll give that a go. Here are my 2 parsnip beds. If my shadow can get out the way. And that one over there isn't even a parsnip. So germination has been extremely poor in the one bed, and then in this second bed it's been all along the back where it's quite shady. So the only thing I can guess about that is that the sun has just been too warm for it to germinate, because parsnips do like a bit of cool to germinate in, which is why I started them to chit in the shade of my kitchen windowsill. I'm just going to sow the chitted parsnips now. So what I've done is I've filled these 2 deep tubs with multi-purpose compost and sand. So I've mixed it together. It's probably about 3/4 compost and 1/4 sharp sand, sharp horticultural sand. I mixed it all together, and then I've made some indents in the top of the soil to plant the chitted parsnip seed in. So let's get on with doing that now. Have to be fairly careful not to damage the root. I've never tried this way before, but I thought it was worth a go, since I've not had much luck. I'll just poke that one down as well. That's the 2 walls sewn up now, and I still got a few seeds that have chitted left over, so I'll pop them into the big crate around my back garden now, and I'll sow what remainder of the parsnip seeds I have. I'll chit them like I've chitted these and see how far I've got, and whether I can fill that back crate up, because originally I've got 2 of them, but I think I'll probably only have enough to fill one, so the other one I'll put to another purpose. But that's it for me for today. I hope you've enjoyed, well, looking at some of the ways that I'm going to germinate my seeds. It has been a bit of a struggle this year with the heat, so those are a couple of methods I've used. And the other thing I forgot to mention, which I'm going to do with my carrot seeds that I'm going to sow in a line, is once I've sown them and I've put I've watered them in, I'm going to put a board on top of where the line of carrots is, and I'll check that 3 days afterwards, and that should make the carrots germinate, because they will have the board on top of the seeds, which will block out any sun. So that area should stay nice and moist for the carrots to germinate in. That's the other thing I'm going to do. So if you try any of these methods, or you have tried any of these methods, please let me know if it's worked for you, and hopefully we'll have some parsnips this year for the winter. So all I can say about my work today is lovely job.